Hello everyone, it's Shel from Paper Octio Studio, and it is time for the Pick-a-Stick Challenge for the month of November 2016. The Pick-a-Stick Challenge is a group over on Facebook where we issue a challenge every month that has to do with 10 steps that are drawn randomly by sticks. This month I drew the sticks. We rotate between the four of us who draws them. Also, I'm still doing hashtag November Daily Art Journal, hashtag November Daily Art Journal, that. So the prompt for today is pink. So my Pick-a-Stick challenge is going to be pink. The first step in the Pick-a-Stick challenge was to add numbers. So I wanted to do what is referred to as a resist, and I'm using gesso to do that. So I used that stencil from the Crafter's Workshop and went over it all over my page with white gesso. So that will make areas where there's gesso and then other areas where there's not. And that is where the resist comes in, as you will see. The next step was to add a leaf, or actually it was called put a leaf on it. And I thought this stencil looks like a leaf. Now I'm wondering if maybe it's supposed to be a feather, but I'm going to say it's a leaf. And so I'm using some Tattered Angels sprays to spray through that stencil, and where there is gesso, the color is lighter, and where there isn't, the paper has absorbed more, and that's the darker area. So that's what a gesso resist is. It works with watercolors and water-soluble sprays like Tattered Angels. So there's my put a leaf on it. And then the next one is to add triangles. So I got a different color of Tattered Angels mist. This one is a baseboard mist, which means that it doesn't have glimmer in it. It's a flat color. And it's called Baby Girl Pink. And I'm going to spray that through this Dilutions Triangle stencil if I can get it to work. I'm using a little pin to clear out the nozzle and basically making a huge mess. This thing is spraying at an angle. It's really weird. It's acting very crazy, but it did work, and I got some Baby Girl Pink all over my page with some triangles. So I satisfied that step. And I'm going to give it a good dry because I really need this to be super dry. Then I decided I will go ahead and take off the spiral bound portion of my paper. For this whole year, for both Pick-a-Stick Challenge and Mission Inspiration, I've been using a mixed media journal by Strathmore that is a 9x12, and I've been tearing out the pages. And at the end of the year, I'm going to bind them all with rings. So I've been using individual pages. So right now I'm sealing that entire page with clear gesso because both mists are water soluble, and I know I'm going to be collaging over the top, and I don't want everything to move around and smush. So I sealed it with clear gesso. Then the next step is to use something from another hobby. Besides art, I don't really have any other hobbies except for reading, and I read voraciously. I read a lot. I read on my Kindle, but I'm going to use a page from a book that I have read in the past to just create some little spiral flourishes on my page. So that's my adding another hobby, which is a book page, if that makes sense. I think reading is a hobby. It seems to be a hobby. Don't know what else you would call it. So, yeah, I had to think about that for a while. So I'm like, I don't have any other hobbies. Okay, so there's my flourishes cut out of book paper. The next step is to create a collage. And this is where I really started thinking about what my page is going to be about. And I decided, since I'm using these fashion magazines, that I'm going to create a page about something that's dear to my heart, and that is making sure to prevent breast cancer. We have had a lot of cancers in our family, and the most recent one is my aunt who has breast cancer. We've had ovarian cancer, colon cancer, ovarian cancer. Yeah, our family is prone to the cancers, but the most recent is breast cancer, and this one is completely preventable. All you have to do is check your breasts. Yes, I said breasts. That's those things on the front of you. You should check them every month while you're in the shower, and then also go and get your mammograms. So that's what this page is about, because if you find a lump, or if the mammogram finds a lump, it's preventable completely. It just, you won't die from it. So that's what this page is about. So I'm using this chick. The reason I picked her is because she has a gray shirt, and I think that pink and gray are really nice complementary colors with each other. So that's why I picked this particular girl. She's just from an ad in my magazines, which I got from Katie Jordan. Thank you, Katie. I don't collect magazines, so I didn't have any. So I'm putting on her first, and I, of course, stopped the video and went and cut out all this stuff. I'm not going to make you watch me look through endless pictures and try to figure out what I'm going to do and cut out stuff. Fussy cutting, it takes a long time. So that's the reason that this video is shorter than normal. I also cut out a couple hands and arms, and I put them on then kind of cupping her breasts as if she was going to check them. Of course, they're not her hands, so they must be a nurse's hands or someone else's. I'm not trying to be weird. There was no way I could make her arms go up like that because yeah, anyway. You get the idea. And then this other ad had all these roses, and they were all pinks, so I thought that they would be nice on the page as well. So I'm using them to camouflage the bottom of the arms, and also to camouflage the fact that the top of her head was cut off because it was off the page. And besides, I just like the roses. I think they're cool. Sadly, there wasn't very many full ones on that entire page. Most of them were halvesies from, being tucked behind, or else they had words on them. Step 6, add diamonds. I decided to use stick-on gems for my, quote, diamonds. They're not actual real diamonds. I could have also done diamond shapes, but I already had triangle shapes and swirly shapes and leaf shapes, so I didn't want to confuse the issue. So I decided to go ahead and use these stick-on gems. There's some light pink ones and some really sparkly clear ones to use. So I thought that would be good. So I put them as if they were dewdrops on the roses, and then I add them as jewelry as well. I gave her an earring, a necklace, and a ring. So now she's full of bling. See, I made a rhyming thing. The next step was to use gesso. Okay, I've already used gesso twice, but I still have to do the steps and in order. So I decided to add a few more flourishes with this stencil using white gesso. It doesn't show up that much, but it is, still another layer for this mixed media art journal page. So I'm just using a cosmetic sponge and my white gesso and just putting it here and there to add another element. Not necessary really, but it did actually add something to the page, so. Gotta satisfy those steps. Do all the steps, do them in order. That's the only rule on Pick a Stick Challenge. And that does make it a challenge because sometimes the steps seem like they should be in a different order. But they're not, so you have to work around it. That's what makes it fun. Okay, so once all my gesso is on and I've dried it up, the next step is to use buttons. So I have some buttons from Stampin' Up! From a long time ago. I don't know if they still sell buttons, but they used to have them in their sets of colors. These are the soft subtles. But before I added them, I decided to go ahead and put on my titles or whatever. The reason that I am using in the pink is because that is slang or colloquialism for being healthy. If you're in the pink, you're healthy. So that's what this page is about. And then I also put on the word love because self-love is something that's important, and making sure that you are healthy and you get your mammogram and everything is part of self-love. So I put that on right there on her chest over her heart, I think. Yeah, left side heart. And then added the in the pink for being healthy. And those were cut out from the same magazines that I was using for the rest of the collage. And then I added the buttons around the in the pink title. And they're pink buttons. The next step was to shade an area of the page or image using just lines. This is about using hash lines to shade when you're drawing, but I didn't draw anything. I didn't really have anything to shade. So I just shaded the couple corners of the page and around the girl using a pink Posca pen and making hash lines there. And step 10, use Neocolor 2 or other watercolors. So I got out my Neocolor 2s and I found a bright fuchsia pink one, which goes with the rest of the colors on the page. And I'm using it to shade around the girl to blend her more into the page since she's, stuck on there. And I'm basically using it for shading, for a border, for shading around the whole image and around the title, around the hands that are down at the bottom. And I'm using a water barrel brush, which is a Pentel Aquash brush, to activate the Neocolor 2, which is a water-soluble crayon. Because that's how you do it. I love water barrel brushes. Man, they're great. And that reminds me, all the things that I used on the page will be down in the description box, so you know what materials I used. And if I can find it, there's a link to where you can purchase it, mostly Amazon. There are some links to Canvas Corp brands for the Tattered Angels this time. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment so I know who's watching my videos. I like to learn about you and know who you are, so I like the comments. Of course, you can subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my videos, and you can share with your friends. This one might be a good reminder to share on Facebook about people needing to get their mammograms, because it's really important. And I know there's a few guys who watch my videos. You guys don't have to do it, but I'm talking to the women here. Not that I'm trying to exclude you, because I know guys can like pink, but I am talking to the women at this point. So then I added the words, get them checked, and I made a little necklace for her and used the black around the title. And I think that's it for this Pick a Stick challenge. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.